Hello everybody, welcome back to the Panel by Panel Comics YouTube channel with me, your host Jay. Today is my Panel by Panel comic review. We got 11 books to get into, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, before we get too deep into the episode, guys, if you're new to the channel, please hit that like button and the subscribe button as well so you are always ready for comic book content all throughout the week, and turn on those notifications so you know whenever I post. And there is also plenty of shorts posted all throughout. Coming in at 11th place, we're going to have Captain Marvel Dark Past. This is issue number 3. Simply put, it was not a good issue. The Desecrator basically was just torturing Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, the entire time throughout this issue, and it wasn't that good. I did not enjoy it that much. I thought that it was very long, very long-winded, not that good, and I couldn't get into the Desecrator character. Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, was essentially just being tortured the entire time, and it was okay, but I didn't enjoy it too much. That's why it comes in at 11th place, and I give it a C. I am also going to be dropping this title. Coming in 10th place, we have The Thing on the Doorstep. This is issue number 5. This is the finale issue to this series from Top Cow Productions. It was alright. We saw the demise of William in this series, and this came to its ultimate conclusion. We saw all the way back in issue 1 how this was inevitably going to go. It ends with Edward shooting and killing William to try to relieve him of this entity trying to take over his body. We see a really just decayed William go to Edward's house, trying to get him to kill him, inevitably. And we know that that is what happens. They go to the police station trying to interrogate Edward the next day. It's looking like Edward is probably going to go to prison. Who knows? But Edward's wife does burn William's body, making sure that the entity can't get out. That was pretty cool, seeing it right up near the glass whenever she was trying to burn William and the soul inside of him out. And that's essentially how it ended. That was it. That was the entire book. Really quick read. It literally took me, I think, 2-3 minutes to maybe read it. That's why it comes in so low. The series as a whole was all right. This conclusion was very poor. I think there's a lot of room to be improved. I don't know what happened to Edward. Did he get arrested? Is he going to get put to death? Is the wife just going to get off scot-free for essentially setting blaze to a dead body in a morgue? Who knows? That's why The Thing on the Doorstep comes in 10th place, and it is a C+. Next, we go over to DC Comics. We have Supergirl. This is issue number 14. Coming in at 9th place for 32 pages, $4. This is still the Hero of Kandor going on with part 4. We see Lena Luthor make it down to the bottle of Kandor. They're going to try to use her as help. We also get information of Argo City and how it has this yellow, I guess, I don't really know what to call it, the sun crystal. Lesla is going to try to help Supergirl try to take over the Black Flame. Black Flame shows up, gets pissed at Lesla, and is like, hey, you're really going to be that type of a cousin? You're just going to betray your own blood like that for Supergirl? Really? That's what you're going to do? Ultimately, yes, and they found this device that can latch onto a person, and it can just input the powers of the ring instead into the person. The Black Flame's like, oh, I can have double the power if I have both of these. And Lesla's like, in theory, yes, but also there's a high chance that you could just explode and die from too much power. And she was going to do that, but Supergirl gets healed, gets this black goo or purple goo all over her body, transforms into a new suit, which I kind of like. It's blue and yellow. I think the Superman symbol or the S logo could look a lot better. And that was my main critique of the suit. I love the colors, though. I think the colors were really good. It's like a baby blue and a, I don't know, like kind of like a mustard yellow, but I would say more like a gold. Black Flame and Supergirl, they fight really hard, really difficult. And then Lesla puts that device on her neck, and she gets her powers back. And it looks like it's going to be Lesla and Supergirl versus the Black Flame in the next issue. A solid series from Sophie Campbell. I'm always going to read Supergirl. She's one of my favorite characters. I really do get a good sense of connection with the character. And Supergirl comes in at 9th and is a B for me. Next, coming in at 8th place, we have Transformers. This is issue 33, 32 pages for $4. Still written by Robert Kirkman. We get an update on the Cybertronians in this issue, or the technically Autobots, who are safe and they are going back to the Autobot side of Cybertron. We also get an update on the Sacred Ring and how Void Rivals is getting into it. After the Transformers that were in Void Rivals, they show up and they bring gifts. Springer brings all the, I guess, I forget what it's called. How am I forgetting this? The Energon, literally the name of the effing universe, brings a lot of the Energon energy over to Cybertron and is going to be a big help for the Cybertronians in the battle between the Decepticons. We get an update on Earth. Optimus really struggling to cope with losing the Prime and the wisdom that came with it, the knowledge that came with it. So he's having a big issue, not a big issue with it, but definitely is struggling to cope with it. RC is helping out, trying to train him up to still be the Optimus that we all know and love. We get a lot of Carly and Spike in this issue. Spike was narrating a good majority of it, which was really, really cool. I love seeing that. This was the definition of a filler episode or a filler issue. Nothing really happened too serious. It's just catching you up with everything that's going on in the Transformers universe. You had the Autobots on Cybertron. You had the, I guess, I don't even know what to call them. I guess Autobots on Earth, but they're not technically Autobots since they stayed back. At least that's what Elita 1 Prime said. And then you get caught up with the Decepticons later on at their Cybertron shard. Or actually, that's still the Autobots. That's going to be a little bit of a research headquarters, but it looks like there could be a villain on the loose. I'll let you guys, obviously you just saw who it was. Anyways, we then get updated with the Decepticons after we see, I forget what this character's name is, but he's on the Cybertron shard, Wheeljack, that's his name, Wheeljack's lab, and he falls through the earth and finds something. What is it? Well, you're going to have to read the next issue to find out, but then we finally are going to get updated with the Decepticons at the very end, and they say, where is Starscream? Well, Starscream's right around the corner. Looks like Starscream going to make another return. Feels like every other issue or every other arc, he just comes back from nearly being dead. But it looks like he's starting to reach his peak form slowly but surely. Transformers was a good catch-up issue. A lot better than the other two so far from this current arc. I give it a solid B+. Next, we go over to Marvel. Slow week for Marvel. We have Daredevil. This is issue number 3, written by Stephanie Phillips. Lee Garbett does the artwork. This is Spider-Man helping out Daredevil in this issue because Daredevil is struggling with his powers. His radar sense is off, his hearing is off, his just senses are all effed. And Spider-Man tells him, yeah, you need to just focus on one thing. You're kind of overloading your senses right now, and this Omen character is kind of doing your head in. We see Omen actually attack somebody in Hell's Kitchen, and this was a really, really intense 2-page spread. Really good art from Lee Garbett. I think the colors were great, and this Omen character is really, really ominous, and I mean, kind of makes sense with the word Omen as his villain name. But he ends up killing that dude in the alley, scrapes his eyes out, so the FBI, they go to Matt Murdock, and they're like, hey, we need you to come down to the station to answer some questions. Matt's like, am I under arrest? Am I detained? And they're like, no, you don't have to. And then Matthew's like, well, I'm not going to go to that. So the up-and-coming FBI detective or officer is like, well, if you have nothing to hide, why don't you come down to the station? And of course, Matt being a lawyer, he's like, well, that's not exactly how that works. Anyways, Daredevil goes to Ben Urich, and he's like, well, this Omen character is looking for Matt Murdock, not Daredevil. So I need to put a newspaper ad in the paper about Matthew Murdock. Then, doing that, he's able to interact with Omen. They have a fight. Omen does a great job at fighting. Daredevil's still struggling with his senses, trying to focus on one thing at a time, but Omen is so unpredictable he can't latch on to something. So we then get the ultimate reveal of the face, at least, of Omen. I'm not going to show you guys that. If you want to see it, you're going to have to buy Daredevil issue 3 in order to find out. Daredevil comes in at 7th place and is a solid B+ for me. Next, we go over to DC. We have Barbara Gordon Breakout. This is issue number 2. Love the Dan Mora cover. I mean, that is absolutely fantastic. Really, really cool. Anyways, going on to the actual story itself. It was all right. We get Barbara in the hospital, or in the, I guess, nursery, whatever they call it in prison, after she just got exploded, or had a big explosion in her face while she was in her prison cell. And she's going to get help from this character named Sparrow. After she's been in the nursery, she's been wounded. She gets her wounds healed, wounds treated, and she starts hallucinating. No clue why at first, but you'll later find out. Jim Gordon also gets a checkup from Nightwing, Dick Grayson, and they're basically talking about it, and Nightwing tells her, hey, we're all trying to figure it out. It wasn't her job. She's the one that decided to do this. Jim Gordon's still upset about it, but he did send help. That's what he tells Nightwing. Sparrow continues giving these pills to Barbara Gordon. We have no clue what it's supposed to do. We think that she's actually helping her, and we think that this is the help that Jim Gordon sent to Barbara. But as we continue the series, or continue this issue, Barbara's still having these hallucinations of death, knocking at her door, specifically in the face of Joker, and they're telling her ominously, take your pills, Barbara, knock knock. And then we get kind of a reveal of who this Sparrow character is. Is she actually a hero? Is she actually there to help Barbara? Or is she somebody that's actually trying to help finish her? No clue. You're going to have to read and find out for yourself. But Barbara Gordon Breakout, good art. I like where the story is going. It kind of felt not as much as a Barbara Gordon issue, but more of kind of a Sparrow issue. But of course, it's a Barbara Gordon title. It was a solid B+ for me. Next, we go to the top 5. We have Jessica Jones, Alias. This is issue number 4, the penultimate issue to this Red Band title. We have Jessica and Typhoid Mary fighting the man without a face, or the demon without a face. Kind of forgot what his name is. Anyways, they go to the butcher shop and it all goes ablaze. They try to fight their way out of it. And they do an alright job. Jessica Jones has her powers. Typhoid Mary's being Typhoid Mary. But then Jessica Jones kind of goes crazy and kills the demon in the butcher shop. Typhoid Mary kind of pokes fun at her, saying, oh, Mary, stop stabbing the people we're investigating. Mary, stop killing our suspects. Mary, stop. And then Jessica Jones cuts her off. But then Typhoid Mary tries to get Jessica Jones to leave out the back, and she doesn't, and gets confronted by cops. Then we cut back to the courtroom where we cut to an interrogation room, rather, where Jessica and Luke have a bit of banter still. They have a good back and forth, reminiscing on stuff in the past. But then Typhoid Mary shows up and breaks Jessica Jones out. Maybe that was the point of the break-in. Who knows? It was Jessica's decision ultimately to leave. But Luke Cage then feels ultimately betrayed by Jessica. He just doesn't know why she's doing this stuff, even though he knows that it's Jessica. She loves doing this PI stuff. And Typhoid Mary and Jessica Jones, they escape, and they're still on the loose, trying to find these killers, trying to find out who is doing all this stuff. Well, it's revealed in this issue who's actually behind everything. I'll let you guys read to find out. The villain, I had no clue that was coming. Really, really cool. It's a massive villain in the Marvel Universe. If you guys are into Jessica Jones, I highly recommend getting this series. If not, definitely get the trade whenever this does come out, inevitably. I'm sure it reads amazing in trade. Jessica Jones Alias was an A- comic book for me. Next, we go over to Titan Comics. This is Dead by Daylight, the Hillbilly. This was a great issue. I did not expect this series to actually be this entertaining and draw me in so severely. This issue focuses a lot on Darnell and the psychological aspects, the PTSD of seeing the hillbillies slaughter those cows, having this corrupt police department that's getting paid off by politicians, paying off other people to do bad things, letting everybody loose, letting everybody do whatever they want, essentially. And it's starting to really affect Darnell's home life. His wife is like, what is up with you? You need to start acting like a father to your daughter, because your daughter's going to get raised really quickly, and all of a sudden she's going to be going off to college and all this stuff. But you see the hillbilly at the farm, and he's watching what appears to be a Superman-like TV show. Of course, they can't use Superman yet because he's not a free character for everybody in the world to use, but he will be in a couple. We're getting close to that, actually. I can't remember how long. But then the cops go back to the barn. They let the hillbilly, they don't even have a name for him. They just call him Boy. And he starts beating these cows, and then they let this massive bull, and the bull starts beating down on the hillbilly, and he's screaming out, "Paw, Paw." And the dad doesn't even listen to him, doesn't even like make any interactions with him. He lifts his hand up for help, but then the hillbilly gets these flies in his ear, these things whispering to him, telling him, "You're just a boy, you're nothing. You need to slaughter is who you are. Slaughter is your only worth." He's so useless. He doesn't even have a name. Boy, what kind of name is that? And that sets a switch off in the hillbilly, and he starts killing all the officers. He starts killing his dad. It's like he's having a blind rage. And then the cops try to stop him, and they can't do anything about it. And then the police chief is like, "Look at what you've done. You've killed my team, my effing men." And the hillbilly's like, "No, I didn't do that. No. And he runs to Ma. And we're going to see what happens to Ma in the final issue. This is the penultimate issue to this series. It's only a 4-issue mini, but this is fantastic. If you guys are even remotely interested in a psychological slaughter book, this is it. I mean, you see what leads the hillbilly to why he is the hillbilly. This is the definition of an origin comic book, and it was absolutely fantastic. Dead by Daylight, the hillbilly, for me, came in 4th place and was an A- comic book. Absolutely fantastic. Next, in the top 3, we have Bleeding Hearts. This is issue number 5. This is Poke and the Hunt. That's what they call it. Bunny and her mom. Her mom's actually dead. They ended up eating her because she was too mad. We get a lot of narration from the character of Bunny. Just all this stuff. She starts feeling like she's the problem. They ate Papa because I was bad. They ate Mama because I was bad. Everything I do, there's just really bad things that I've done. She connects with this woman that is also in the cage after this hunt where the zombies, it's their one day of a year where they collect all these live ones or living things, but humans, and they go and hunt them. Mush and Poke have a really, really strong one-on-one where Mush doesn't believe Poke. He's like, "You were just hiding out on these humans." But then they said, "It's all right. I understand. You were just there and you were trying to eat them. You don't want to end up like an exile, the one that just is too greedy." Poke basically makes it sound like he ate the whole family and he was hiding, he was leaving the rest for nobody else. He was being greedy and eating everybody himself. Of course, that's not what happened. He can't let that be known, or else he might get killed. Who knows? But the roundup starts. They all let the humans free, and Rabbit starts going off at Poke, screaming at him, "I thought you were my friend. I can't believe I let you do this to me." And then the hunt begins for the humans. Fantastic book by Denise Camp. Really good DC Vertigo title. Probably my favorite. It's a toss-up between it and End of Life. Two really great Vertigo titles. Bleeding Hearts for me is an A- book, comes in at 3rd place. Next, I didn't think it was going to come up this high, but we have Black Cat. This is issue 11, the first issue of the second story arc for G. Willow Wilson's Black Cat run, and it involves the Punisher. We get some backstory behind why the Punisher is going to be involved in this title. He's going looking for somebody to kill, and a dog shows up. He takes him in and makes him his own. They go on runs. They go on murder sprees. They have dinner together. They watch TV together. And one night, when they're out on this mission, he leaves the dog on the ground, tells him to stay, and Black Cat rounds the corner. She's robbing somebody or is getting chased down by the mafia, and she runs over the Punisher's dog. I'm sure a bunch of people can sympathize with wanting to kill the person that killed your dog, whoever ran them over in the street, or your cat, or whatever pet that you have that was killed and it was unnecessary. He wants to enact revenge on her. So that is the whole motivation for Punisher going after Black Cat. He goes to her house the following morning, shoots it up. Black Cat tries to figure out why. Why is he doing this to me? She didn't know that was his dog. She just thought it was a random dog in the alleyway. And they inevitably meet each other face to face. Punisher tells her, yeah, that was my dog. I can't believe what you did. And Black Cat tries to charm her way out of this. Use a bit of her luck. Use her blonde looks and her great physique to try to sexually, succumb Punisher to her powers or whatever. And it doesn't work. So Punisher starts chasing her down the stairs. She's like, maybe he'll trip. Maybe I'll find some luck down here. Maybe he's allergic to the dust. None of that happens. He still follows her out. She gets whacked by, she whacks the Punisher, tries to get a bit of an upper hand, but not really. The Punisher does what he does, and he takes her in to interrogate her, maybe even kill her. We'll see what happens next in Black Cat issue 11. Maybe my favorite issue of the entire series. We have a new artist on this title as well. I do want to give a shout out to him, Andres Genolitz. Really, really good. I like Gleb Melnikov's art from the first 10 issues, but this was just another level. It added more depth, and it really, I think, benefited the Punisher. This is completely different side of Frank from what we get in the actual Punisher ongoing currently, written by Benjamin Percy. More comedic, more of a human, I would say. Really good issue. Black Cat's an A comic book for me. Comes in at second place, but it wasn't first. For me, that goes to DC's The Fury of Firestorm. A beautiful comic cover, first of all, by Todd Knock. That's going to go up on the wall in a couple days. But The Fury of Firestorm starts off with Firestorm, the entity, the sentient character, who's taken over Ronnie Raymond's body, and he just desolates all of the Justice League. And while that's going on, there's this narration of Martin Stein multiple years ago, probably decades ago, pleading to the government to fund this project called The Fury of Firestorm, or the Project Firestorm. And they're like, well, I mean, not really. We don't trust you. This doesn't sound safe. But he ultimately gets the government's pay. We also see Lorraine go to Jason, who used to be a part of the Firestorm character whenever Ronnie Raymond was not there. I can't quite remember why at the moment. But anyway, she goes to him pleading, hey, we need your help. We need to do something. And he's like, no, I have a kid. I have a kid on the way. I have a family. I can't risk this. And she understands, but Firestorm doesn't care. He's beaten Supergirl. We also see what Martin Stein got up to years ago, how he got into the pants of a government official and got his way. Lorraine also goes to this place called the Iron Docks. That is where Martin Stein was. That's where Jason told her he was. And she gets there, starts to interrogate Martin Stein, and he says he hates me for what I did. He's talking about Ronald, because he was a terrible person to Ronald. He manipulated him into thinking that he was a worthy person, when ultimately he was just somebody that he could easily manipulate to feel like he had a worthy spot in the world. And yeah, anyways, the Firestorm character, he's heading for Pittsburgh. I think that's pretty fair reason why. That's where this whole ordeal happened with Ronnie and Dr. Stein. The first creation of Firestorm was there. That's the explosion that happens that bonds Ronnie and Dr. Stein after the whole manipulation of that orchestrated by Dr. Stein. It's like, is Dr. Stein really evil? Like, is he not a good person? or has he been changed over the years and now he's repenting? He feels bad for what he did. He wants to try to do good. But this Fury of Firestorm, the Firestorm sentient character, is pissed about whatever happened in the past, and he's not going to let Dr. Stein get away with it. That's why the Fury of Firestorm is an A+ comic book, a fantastic, fantastic read. Jeff Lemire killing it with that series. Guys, let me know what your top comic was down in the comments below this week. I'll see you guys Tuesday for my top 10 comic books coming out next Wednesday. But remember, keep reading those comics panel by panel. I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day.